So my name's Q Moldrik. I am the CEO of Legacy Digital. We are a full service digital marketing agency located in Charleston, South Carolina, but we serve nationwide. We work with any and all brands who are looking to create an online presence, whether you're a personal brand or e-commerce, service-based, but we do everything from brand builds, brand facelifts, rebranding, content creation, social media management, website builds, maintenance, SEO, email marketing, reputation management, you name it, we probably do it. So we currently have 8 employees in the United States, and I have 5 employees over in the Philippines. So I worked with my husband, Gunnar, for 4 years. I built his company. And first of all, working with your significant other is challenging, especially when you are building a company. So after us managing and starting multiple businesses together, we thought it would be best for us to create some new roles in the company that didn't require us to be intersecting our lanes so often. So I reached out. I also have my own business, and I was spending so much time prioritizing my husband's business, and it stole from me growing my business. So from my perspective, bringing somebody else on to take over these responsibilities that were very, very important to maintain and continue, because my husband is in the social media space. I knew that decision needed to be made, and it was a hard one. And, we are so tied together, and I know him like the back of my hand, and he is a different type of human being than your average person. He's an extremist in everything that he does. So I knew I needed to bring somebody on that was firm, that asked questions, that had strategy, and that was okay with things changing every single day. My husband is your atypical entrepreneur, and he is excited about all the opportunities, and he comes up with a big idea and he wants to implement it right away. And then he'll change his mind the next day. And that's, the beauty of what he does, but he needs implementers, right? He is a visionary. He is an ideator. He has great concepts, but when it comes to making them happen, that is where he struggles. Now, a typical virtual assistant company, because we work with other ones as well, you're not sure what you're going to get, right? With any new employee, whether they're hired in America or in another country, you're going to have 90 days of training and onboarding and getting them used to the systems, right? And they're going to fail, and they're going to experience things that they haven't experienced before, but it's up to you as the business owner to make sure you have the processes in place and provide them with the support that they need to succeed in their role. And it's the same thing with, hiring an employee outside of the country compared to other employees that we've hired outside of the States is fierce. It has no problem saying, I do not agree with that, and I think that we should do it this way. Also is a problem solver, right? Doesn't let things sit and marinate, comes to the table, says, hey, this is a problem, and here's 5 solutions that we could go at, like how we could solve this situation. And that's what somebody you need on your team, somebody that brings value, and somebody that can be an asset to the company, not just another person that you just have to continuously tell what to do. Took on every single project with such intensity and did it better than I would have done it. It seems intimidating, but it's the best thing that I've ever done for my company personally. I personally have 8 employees in the States. And we also have partnerships that we work with for the production side of our company. So, in total, I'm probably, I have a team on average, depending on the day. If we have a big shoot, I might have 20 people working underneath me, but on average, I have about 8 employees in the States, but we have 5 virtual assistants overseas in the Philippines. And I'm not going to say I've probably the same ratio of employees that I've hired in the States and employees that I've hired overseas have come on board and left, right? Because it didn't make sense for them in their role. We're in agency life. It's crazy. There's nothing easy about agency life. It's ready, set, go. changes every single moment of the day. So not everyone is built for this role. So I would say the same ratio of employees I've brought in the States for VAs have come and they've gone. And I've same with the ones that have stayed and they're here since the beginning. I would say best practices for onboarding any employee is to make sure there's SOPs and there's processes in place. Now, those will change, right? When you bring a new role in, especially, those will change over time. But as long as you're working with them and you set those expectations up front, like, hey, this is initially what I'm going to have you do. Here's your SOP, but also a part of your responsibility is to maintain and update this SOP as your role evolves, right? So that way, if your business grows and you need to fill a second position in that role, it's already ready to go for you. So I would say processes are super important. Also, making sure that you're super clear on the expectations of what you want from your VAs or your employees out of state. Same with in-state. Just because they're in a different country doesn't mean that they need more or less information. Like when I'm writing a task out, I'm writing the same that I would write for a task for someone that's sitting next to me to someone that's overseas. So being very, very clear in what you're asking for, so there's no room for confusion. So the best way to form a job description for someone who's working remotely, okay, whether it's in the States or out of the States, is if you're a solopreneur and you're like, I need help and I don't know the first step to even take. Do what we do them in our company quarterly, their time assessments. So for 2 or 3 days, or if you really want to do it for a full week. Get a document and every 30 minutes, write down what you're doing. Even if that's personal, like, okay, I went and got my nails done or something, write that down. I got on this phone call and it lasted 45 minutes, write that down. I sent out 3 emails, write that down. I built all these tasks out for my team, write that down. I got on sales calls, write that down. So then at the end of the week, go through and then have another column that lays out whether that's a $10 task, a $100 task, or a $1,000 task. Now, depending on your role in the company, for me, I'm a CEO. My tasks are $1,000 tasks. I need to be on sales calls. I need to be putting it, my time needs to be spent generating revenue. It doesn't need to be spent doing a lot of administrative work. So anything that's the $10 task or $100 task, separate that out, and that is your job description for your remote employee. Now, as far as having feet on the ground employees versus virtual assistants or remote employee, there is a difference because like in the agency world, we are very feet on the ground. We have to have, cameras out, we're filming, we're meeting with our clients, we're on set, but there is a whole other post-production side that needs to happen for that content to go live, right? So instead of me having, hiring or making, first of all, expanding my team's bandwidth that's already not there and saying, hey, you have to film this and you have to edit it and you have to post it, that's asking too much, right? So what we do is we split the roles up and say, okay, our feet on the ground employees are handling the feet on the ground activities, and everything that could be done virtually, we could outsource or give to our remote team, our virtual assistant team. So our virtual assistants are very busy. We're definitely going to be expanding that team going into 2025. But they are editing videos, they're batching out content, they're handling a lot of customer service issues technical issues that we couldn't handle on our own. There are SEO engineers, we have, website developers, we have graphic creators, so creating infographics and different assets. And what I love about them is now we've gotten them to a place where they're so in the process and we're providing them opportunities to educate themselves to be better in their role. So we're, saying, hey, we want you to learn how to do this type of video editing technique, and we'll sign them up for a course so they can learn and continue to evolve their skills so they could apply those to our assets at the end of the day. So I'll say, not without giving numbers, labor is my number one expense, which for most businesses, that is true. But with the team I have here in the States, I need them here, right? I need feet on the ground employees, but I'm able to cut my labor in half with my remote team, my virtual assistant team overseas. if I hire those people, those experts with the knowledge that they have and the education that they have here in the States, that would be doubling my labor expenses here. So from a cost perspective, it's a no-brainer if you're a business owner. Like if you're looking to scale your team and you need help, remote employees or out of the state or out of the country employees, virtual assistants, whatever you want to call them, are just as smart, just as educated, just as certified, if not more than we are. I could sit here and say, like, I'm thinking of one of our virtual assistants now. We could not do it without her. She is so creative. She is so quick on her feet. She is such a problem solver, and she is visually what you see when it comes to the content that is posted on our clients' profiles or websites. She's the one building it out, right? So, everyone's like, oh, Legacy Digital's doing it. No, that's our virtual assistant team. And they are so better at what they do than what we're even capable of doing. So everyone asked me, like, if I could give my solopreneur self a piece of advice, what would it be? So like when I started my business, if I could, where I am in my business now versus day one of me starting my business, what would it be a piece of advice that I would give myself? And it would be to hire somebody. Now, when you're in that beginning phase of like starting your company, it is not realistic for you to bring on a $50,000, $60,000 employee salary. But that's why we love working with the virtual assistants and remote employees, because they're cost effective and they are just as effective at getting the job done as if a full-time salary in the United States would be. So if you're looking to scale your business, or if you need if you're a mom, right? I'm not a mom, but like I have a lot of mom friends and their lives are crazy, right? Their children run around, they have 50,000 errands that they have to get done. They're in charge of planning every single event, they're coordinating everything. Like having a right-hand person that could just ensure everything is getting done is such a mental release, and it creates more time for you to be a mom, more time for you to be present with your family versus diving into all the coordination, administrative, and logical components of just having a life. I'm a big fan of this model, and my business would not be where it is today without having remote employees, that's for sure.